Welcome back to Niagara Trillium Learning Channel. I'm trying to get into this Multitech unit, which is a LoRa unit, and when I configured it in my office, I configured it as port 448, and it was on 192.168.0.103 at the time. Since then, it's been sent to site, it's been installed, and it's monitoring a gas meter, and no one's changed any ports or anything like that. So this particular SIM card was looking at 192.168.1.123, and I've just since changed that just to get into this unit so that I can actually change the address of the unit. So there's I set the router's address now to 192.168.0.1, and I've done some port forwardings in the router, firewall and port forwards, and I've now done this 448 to this router. So at the moment, because I've changed the IP address, this Jace that's connected on these ports when they're using 4911 and 5011 are now no longer working, so until I configure this. So I've put in this port forward rule there of 448 to go to this unit, and now I can log in to this unit. So let's log in. I'm not logged in yet, so let's just log in and let's see what we've got here. So this is the devices. So this is the unit here, and number 8812. I've just got across here my Multitech devices there, and I'm hoping that it will refresh. Let's refresh that and see which one it is. See if it's talking back. I can't see anything yet. Okay, let's carry on with this unit. So I want to change the IP address of this unit. I'm trying to think where it was now. Network interfaces. It's not going to be in there, is it? No. It's been a while since I've been into one of these units. Administration. I need to change that. That's going to be in. Yeah, that address has got to be changed, the IPv4 address. Would it be that one? It is. So we're going to be talking to gateway with a 1.1, and we're going to put that as a 1 address. We can leave the mask exactly as it is, and we can submit that. And save and apply. Apply change you made, system reboot is required, click OK. OK for that. Right, so I can go back into my port forwards now, and I can edit that to now go into the IP address, custom 192.168.1.103, save. So that's 1.103 and then I can go back into my LAN here, and I can tell it that the IP address is now 1, and we can do a save to that. So that's back to normal again. To prove that, I can, on my other screen, go into the station and see if I can get into the station again now. And I can. Come on, load up. So I'm now in the station again. So that works. Right. So I should be able to get back into the setup again with the login of that Multitech unit. Nothing's happened there at the moment, so it hasn't logged in, it hasn't talked back to the main server. Yeah, I've got to check that site as well. That's another site that doesn't seem to have an internet connection, but one of these should be green, should be. So let's go back to my diagnostics and let's see whether we can ping it now. 192.168.1.103 ping. Yes, so that's pinging fine. So let's see if we can connect to it again. Yes, it is connecting now. Log in there. Right, so what I need to do is get it to talk back to the server, well, back to the unit. But what we did there, I think I set this up with one device. No, that looks like it's got two devices. It wasn't the EM300. Oh, it might have been that. So let's see whether we can see it. Packets coming in. Yeah, packets are working at this. These are the times. So 4726 ending in 4726 is the device. So if I go to devices again, 4726 is that device there. So that one can actually be deleted. But let me find out what 4726 is first. That's our key management. 4726, that's the only key that we've actually got in there. So that one can be deleted. That's all I want is 4726. That device EUI. I don't want anything else. And I should, in my BACnet objects, BACnet configuration, and BACnet objects, (4726) and EM300. So a battery. So we've set up a battery for. We've set up the code for the battery, humidity, temperature, and pulses from that unit via LoRa. So that's what I set up. And that's the EM300DI. Okay. Yeah, that was the one that I put in there. Right. Packets again. So I should be able to pick that up on the controller, but I need to set up BACnet, don't I? So let me bring that across to this side. And let's see if we can find this unit here. So I'm going to have to go drivers first. I'm going to have to add a new driver. Back network. Okay. Okay. Come on. Back network. Right, let's go right click that, views AX BACnet device manager. We are there already. Property sheet. Local device. See the -1 there. We've got to change that. We'll put that to 1. And location Jace controller. Save that. And then go to BACnet comms, network, IP port, and link it to the IP port of the controller 192.168.1.123, and we can enable that. So that's now enabled. And think that will be it. Let's go to back network now and discover. And let's see if we can discover this Multitech unit. And there you are. So we've got a trend system as well on BACnet. I'm going to take both of them across. Right, I better find out how many ports we've got left on this. So if I go stations, views, proxy points, I want to look at. And we have, where are you, where are you, where are you? 3, so it's a 500 and we've got 332. Okay. So BACnet again for that one. No points, discover. And there's my LoRa devices. But nothing populated yet. So we've got to wait for that to happen. For the next signal when it sends it. Alright, that's worked. And just put you on pause a minute to see if there's anything else I need to check. Let me have a look at this Multitech unit again and see if we can tell it to talk back. Log back in. Might as well do all this while we're waiting for it to actually send a packet, because the last packet it sent was 6:16, so it's sending a packet every hour. So let's have a look at commands. Save changes, restart device, no, I don't want that. Administration. Access configuration will be port 83, yeah, I can leave that. That's what I set in 448. It's normally 443, but I set in 448 in case it needed anything. And you can see the port that I've set in is 83 instead of normal 80. I'm using 81 to get into the cell router with the SIM card, the M2M. Remote management. Here we go, I think. Is this the... There's my... There. Go on, check in. Let's check in. Let's see whether we can check in. Request to check in to direct sent successfully. Let's see whether you checked in. Let's do a refresh now. Well, you did check in because you're not there anymore. Click to see all devices. So that there, that's you checking in on that router. So now what we'll do is we'll change it to the site it's at, which is William Penn. William Penn. Where were we? There. Update device. Right, I can update that now on my spreadsheet, so I'll just put you on pause while I open my spreadsheet with all my devices. So I was just looking at the Multitech again. Now I've updated my spreadsheet. In fact, I can save that. It's on my other screen and close that. I was just looking at the packets that it's sending. I don't want to copy that. I'm just going to wait for it to send another packet and go from there. So all it is now is a waiting game to get that packet in, so that I've got some values coming back here. I'm only interested in the pulses. I'm not interested in anything else at this moment. So I think that's going to be it. But once I get them pulses in, it's connected to a gas meter on site. I don't know what the distance is between the device across to that Multitech unit. I have no idea because I haven't been to site. But eventually I will get some pulses coming back, and I can then start with monitoring the gas and setting up the information there daily or hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. But I want to get some data in first. Let me show you about this Multitech. Let me just put you on pause. I think it's somewhere around here. Might need to search for it or go LoRa. Where are we? LoRa. And which one did we use? It would be the cheaper one of the two. Yes, it was this one that we used. Access point. The other one's got a built-in SIM card, and we didn't use that. We just used the Ethernet cable back. So this would be right near where the controller is, probably mounted in a panel somewhere. Well, not probably, will be, and connected to the router via Ethernet, and bringing in the LoRa signal, and then we're changing that LoRa signal to BACnet. And could do with showing you how I do that. Let me go back to Multitech device, not that one, this one, and it was in, if my memory serves me right, which it probably doesn't, we want payload, sensor definitions, and I did a sensor definition for this EM300, which we saw that there of what but you need to know a little bit more about it than that. So that's how you put a new sensor definition in, and the decoder file, but I need to show you, and it doesn't, I don't think this actually shows you what the code is. It doesn't, does it? It doesn't show you what the code is. So I need to find that from my list of, got lots of other sensors you can use. It's already been placed into this. But I need to show you what my two files are I have used to upload that. Let me put you on pause and let me find it. I found them here. This EM300. So that was my JSON file, and that's my decoder file. So let's just open up that one first. So this is my JSON file. Oops, don't need that. EM300 Pulse, battery, float percent, float Celsius, float RH, float, and then the decoder that it's using to decrypt that information. So that's simple enough. That's not hard enough. In fact, I might just paste that for you in the comments section. And then the decoder is this payload decoder, Milesite EM300, and that's if you're using chip stack there, 4, 3, the things network, and these are decoder files. So what I look for when I'm writing my JSON is I just look for the battery there, the temperature there. So that's 16, that one. It's not flat. I've put floats in there, haven't I? But it should still work. Humidity. Now I don't know if this one has actually got a humidity sensor, and there's some pulse counters there. Now what did I use for the pulse? So I just used water. This here, water. And if we look for just water, that there, water. Okay. So that is the file, and now you'll be able to get this from Milesite. I think they've got a web page where you can get all your decoder files. So this is not being written by me, by somebody else, but what was written by me was a JSON, because you need two files. You need the JSON, so you need the decoder from the manufacturer, and then you need the JSON to convert it to BACnet, so properties, so that you can just pull it in via the decoder. And that's what I've just done there. Right, let me just put you on pause and maybe wait for this signal to come in. Sorry, while we're waiting, I'll just show you this. That's your definition file, so that's a JSON file that will go into that one. And that's your decoder file, that's your manufacturer's decoder file for the LoRa device that goes into that one. And then once you've got that, you will put a manufacturer name, whatever you wanted to, whatever you want to call the sensor name. And then once you've loaded that, you can then pick up your BACnet objects. Let's log me back out again now. This, like I did. And it was in BACnet objects, wasn't it? And you can basically add these objects in there, and you set your analog values. So I used analog value 1 for that, 2 for that, 3 for that, and 4 for that. And there's where you can add your objects. Once you've set everything up, if you search for the device, it will then give you the options of adding in what you put in your JSON file. And the BACnet configuration, if you need to see that, I've used the standard 47808. It's enabled, just using BO interface, giving it a device object identifier and a name, and that's it. And we found that when we actually looked for that, this device 6262, we found it in our BACnet devices, which is there. And I was going to have a look at that and see what we've got points wise in there. Let me have a quick look at that and see what we've got that I brought through. Discover AHU7. Quite a few points. In fact, I'm going to bring all them points into here, because no doubt at a later date they'll ask me to do that. So take all them, bring them across. I've got spare points on the controller, so I'm not worried about that. We can drop them into there. Come on, sometime today will be fine. Thank you. Now they are sensors, they're knobs, they're inputs, and they're switches. So I want them to be Boolean writable, and I want the adjustments to be writable, and go OK. They should drop down into there. Read only, writable, 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 read only. That's normal for the outputs to be like that. So let's edit them and enable them. Good. And there are writables there for them. I think what we'll do is we will stick some temperature sense, some histories on there. Histories and extensions and numeric change of value. Drop that into there. And I want it to say control panel probably. No, I'll leave it as it is, the history. And we'll just do a 1 degree change. Copy that. Paste. Paste. I'm just pressing the enter key. Paste. Enter. Paste. Enter. Paste. Enter. And then we could put histories on there and false. So Boolean change of value. We're just going to leave it exactly as that is. Yeah, we'll leave that exactly as it is. Copy. Paste. 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 Now I've noticed these have got hyphens in there. You see the hyphens after the I want to probably change that. And I haven't set the histories going yet, so there's no issue with me changing them at the moment, because I haven't enabled all the histories. I'm just putting them in here at the moment. Come on. Paste. Paste. I might as well put the same history on the outputs. They're only 500 points per history and then it rolls over. I'm not bothered about them. So I'm going to highlight all them now. Take that out of there. Highlight all them. Rename. Minus. Underscore. Okay. And then I'm going to do the spaces now. Rename. Space. Underscore. I've got a few that's got 2 underscores there, so that's no problem. Rename. Underscore, underscore, 1 underscore. They've got 2, haven't they, still? There. That is, I think, 2 underscores. Or is it 3? Let's see. I think it's 2 in between there and there. Rename. 2 underscores. 1 underscore. Yeah. Don't know why it didn't do it last time. I'm looking for any special characters at the moment that I don't want, and I can't see any. Now I can go and enable them histories on the station. Where are you, station? Where are you? Services. I want you up there. Services and history. And somewhere you'd be all greyed out down here. Here you are. Take that. See what happens when you've got a space there? It does a $1.20. See that? So you can't really see it properly. Well, you can see it. It puts it fine there in the history name. But the physical point, it makes the point a lot longer. So this is AHU6 space hyphen space. So you got AHU6, then your hyphen, you got your space there, $1.20. Then you got $2D, and then you got $20 again, changing $20, $2D, $20, recoup $20, and short for damper. Well, I don't like all them. I prefer to put in underscores and remove all hyphens and all spaces. Let's start that going. As you can see here, you've got no special characters now. Okay, that's all done. All okay, so there's no copies. There's no faults, which if there would be, if there'd be a copy. So that's AHU7, AHU8 and AHU9 bringing in via BACnet. And we've got AHU4, 5, 6. And lots of pumps. So no doubt they'll be asking me eventually to do this AHU 7, 8 and 9, but I've already got the points in here. And this has got the IQ network, so that's got the IQ3 main plant, control panel 2. Now it's control panel 2 what I've just brought in. Yes, it is. So it's already got it via the trend network, so it looks like we've already done it, but I'm going to leave it as it is now. But that's brought in via trend. I could delete what I've just done, but I'm not going to bother. But yeah, there you got them there already, but I'm not going to bother deleting because we've got space at this moment. If I do the station views, resource manager, what are we up to now? 381 of 500. Oh, I'm not worried about that. And I presume we haven't got our BACnet yet, because it does it every hour and we're not actually at that stage yet. BACnet points. No, there's no values yet. Alright, I'll put you on pause until I get some values, if I do get some values. Right, I'm just editing this JSON file. So, paste that into there. And I'm going to change that to Pulse. And it's int32. That's probably wrong. Let me just put you on pause there. So I've got a comma there and a comma there. I want to put a comma there to say that I've got another line in there now, Pulse int32. And I'm going to take out these units, because I don't need these units. So I don't need a comma there. And take out that unit. I don't need a comma there. And take out that unit. And I don't need a comma there. Float, 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 type in 32. Now I've gone in 32 because this pulse here, if I look at this pulse counter there, see the int 32 there, reading it, and it's just pulse all lowercase. I'm going to add that on here and just see whether that helps. What's happened, or what I see that's happened, is we've already had a pulse. Let's just log in. Not a pulse, we've already had a signal sent. Devices. And 23 minutes ago it sent a signal. And there you have it there at 9:02. It sent a signal, and that was the packet that it sent, the payload it sent. So I know it's working and sending, but when I look at, I refresh this, when I look at this, I've got nothing here. So I'm not too sure, because it's worked in the office, but I'm not sure why I've still got no values here. So what I'm going to do is I've adjusted that JSON file there. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm just going to put my initials there so I know that's a different one in Milesite definition files. Save. Still using the same decoder, of course. and go back into this, and this time, so with my decoders, where are we with the it's not there, it's, yeah, sensor definitions, it is there. I've called it Milesite EM300 underscore DI. So I'm going to click on import. So I'm going to put Milesite again, EM300 underscore DI, or did I do EM DI 300? I did. Come on. EM300 underscore DI. EM300 underscore DI. Manufacturer Milesite. Allow overwrite. Sensor definition file. So that's going to be in pool work Milesite definition files, and it's the one that's in PMK, and the decoder file is going to be in the same location, and it's that one there, and go to import. So that's all done. So now if I go to manage the BACnet configuration, BACnet objects, so I want to add another object into there. And the object I want to add in now is that pulse that we've done. And it can be, well, I'll put that to a 1, and that's pulse. EM300 Pulse. Submit. Save and apply. Go into my BACnet. Go to discover. There's my pulse. Bring that across and drop that into there. Right, I'm going to end this video at this, but the next video I do, when it's all done, I will come back in and show you this. But that is it for this video, because we're getting to 43 minutes now. Alright, thank you for watching.